One of the things that we do when we evaluate people is we evaluate how tall they are, right? We can measure how tall someone is, and if we got a group of people, we could stack them up from shortest to tallest. And this is great. This gives us a certain level of information about who they are and what they can do. Another way that we can evaluate people is looking at their cognitive and emotional sophistication. Again, we could take a group of people and we could stack them from being the least cognitively and emotionally sophisticated to the most cognitively and emotionally sophisticated. And as we look at those people along that spectrum, we're going to see some patterns that I think are really interesting. So those that are the most cognitively and emotionally sophisticated, they have greater capacity for dealing with things like stress, pressure, uncertainty, and complexity. Right? When shit hits the fan, is they don't freak out. But those that are less cognitively and emotionally sophisticated, they're just easier to wig out about situations. Do you have any family members or friends that it seems like you can't say anything right? They always take it too personally? Or do you have other friends that it doesn't matter what you say, they're really resilient. They're not going to necessarily take it personally. What that is connected to is their cognitive and emotional sophistication. You see, those that are more cognitively and emotionally sophisticated, they have a wider window of tolerance for things like stress, pressure, uncertainty, and complexity. And it's harder for them to get outside of their window of tolerance. When people get outside of their window of tolerance, they either move towards anxiousness or avoidance. A lot of times with the anxiousness, they want to fight. Avoidance, they want to back away, right? So when some people receive constructive criticism and they see it as an attack and get thrown outside of their comfort zone, they might run from it and ignore it, or they might fight back. Right? That's a symbol of them just not having a very wide window of tolerance. But people who can take on constructive criticism and not get defensive and that can sit with it, they just have a wider window of tolerance. And our window of tolerance is ultimately connected to our body's nervous system. Right? When we feel anxious, that's clearly something going on with our nervous system. But it's also an indication that whatever we're feeling anxious about, we may not be very cognitively and emotionally sophisticated in that area. And there's a variety of reasons for that may span into our childhood or upbringing or other situations that we've faced or even our current culture. But the reality is that our level of cognitive and emotional sophistication is connected to our body's nervous system. And when we focus on vertical development, what we're focusing on is improving and refining our body's nervous system so that it takes a greater degree of stress, pressure, uncertainty, and complexity to throw us outside of our window of tolerance. We don't easily get rattled. We're able to stay balanced and stay centered.